Hey out there, it's Matt Fury with Avid here at NAMM 2019. As we've been telling you all day long yesterday, amazing presentations are happening here on the show floor. One of those presentations just happened, my good friend Matt Lange here. Matt, like a lot of people that just are literally one-man bands, you seem to do it all. You're like a multi-hyphenate kind of guy. When you introduce yourself to somebody, and they say, so what do you do? Where do you start with? Where do you start?
I usually start with, it's a hard question to answer, to be honest, because I can't really figure out the right words to say everything that encapsulates it all, so now I just say producer, composer, or if I'm lazy, I say artist. And then no one seems to question you when you say you're an artist.
So artist seems to equal lazy in your world?
No, it just means I don't have to describe it any further.
Okay, cool. So that begs the question, since you do have to wear a lot of different hats, and you could answer that question a lot of different ways, if there's really only one thing you could do moving forward, if you had to pick that one thing, could you? What would it be?
Just be a creative, just to write. Yeah, it's my favorite. I mean, the production process is so inherently part of my creative process. So writing and production, they really are hand in hand. So just be able to create, that is my favorite thing in the world.
So watching your presentation, and Matt did this amazing session with Pro Tools, a lot of guys start out and they just jump right into a plugin, and they're like, I'm going to just noodle on this one piece to death before I move on. And I saw you do a lot of work just with the basic tool set within Pro Tools. Is that your general approach, to start with the basics and then build up, or how do you really do it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't use a ton of plugins, to be honest. Most of my stuff is created outside the box, and that's still fairly traditional, and whether it's guitars or vocals or if it's synthesizers, I mean, I like to do as much as I can outside first and be as human as I can with it. And then once it's in Pro Tools, then it's really technical. It's just editing and, tidying things up for the most part.
So what made you want to get into this in the first place? What was it about, being this artist and expressing yourself the way that you do that just said, this is what I'm going to do?
I never really thought about it, to be honest. I just did it. I've been a musician my entire life, and I got into the production side because I was playing in a band, and I just wanted to be able to record my own demos, and eventually I realized I no longer needed the band. And here we are now,
There you go. If you want to get rid of your band, just do what Matt did. Learn Pro Tools.
Say goodbye to 5 people and say goodbye to any kind of social life.
There you go. One of the cool things about creating music is the toys. There's whether it's processing or doing I/O for audio, hardware or software plugins. I think a lot of people walk by through a show like NAMM and get overwhelmed and just get intimidated. Like, wow, it's going to cost me a lot of money to do what those guys are doing. And I think what you're doing sort of challenges that. I mean, can you do what you do with just sort of a basic version of Pro Tools or even Pro Tools Ultimate?
The editing, yes, 100%. For me, all the money I spent, it's all on instruments. And, I mean, instruments are a lot more expensive than plugins. So that's the caveat right there. But yes, inside the box, I mean, you're limited by your own creativity for the most part. And then it's just what your creativity desires on top of that. That's where it gets pricey.
So when you're talking to young people that come up to you and say, listen, I saw your presentation, or I've listened to what you've done, you're doing exactly what I want to do. How do I get started? Where do what's the jumping off point for them?
I just say, go get started. I mean, it's one of those things. It's a funny question. What do I do? And it's like, I don't know what I do specifically. I mean, I've run into, or I should say, for every victory I have 99 failures. So you just go for it, and whatever makes you happy, you just do it. You don't have to listen to what other people are saying to do or whatever the current style is. If you try to do that, you'll fail, I promise you. You just decide, this is what I love, and I'm going to pursue that. And hopefully you don't let anything get in your way, or at least the things that do get in your way, you try to keep them at bay as much as possible. Okay,
so let's bring it back around to you. With all you've accomplished so far, where do you want to go next? Do you have a specific goal in mind, like I want to do this type of music next or work with this type of artist?
Film. Really? Yeah, be more involved in film. I do a fair amount of film work now, just on the sound design side, but I want to get further into scoring, which I've only barely scraped the surface of.
That's really cool, and it was, like I said, it was an incredible presentation. It's not possible for everybody to get down here to NAMM, but you don't have to anymore. You can download that Avid Link app. You can watch Matt's presentation. You can watch presentations from other artists and just learn so much. So make sure you download that Avid Link app. And Matt, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, there you go.